Hello, welcome to another episode of This, That, and the Other. And I wanted to talk about something I saw on Facebook recently. A lot of things I see posted on Facebook that show up randomly. I don't really pay a lot of attention to. I saw this one though, and I don't think it's true. I don't think it's accurate, but what I read was this: that there's a Walmart somewhere where they're now, I guess it's in experimental stages. At least this is what was what was said on the post, that that particular Walmart, it said Branson, Missouri. Kind of interesting that they mentioned Branson. They mentioned Branson they mentioned McDonald's having a buffet in Branson, which I just read about. Is I guess it actually is happening. I saw pictures of it. But what I saw was this particular Walmart is now charging $5 for a customer to opt for the services of having a cashier ring the merchandise up, bag, etc., which I think is ridiculous. They're trying to encourage customers to use self checkout, and I personally do not have a problem with self checkout. I go to Walmart if I buy a lot of produce, buy like 3 cases of water. I don't want to use self checkout because it's too much trouble trying to run cases of water through self checkout. It's also a pain trying to do produce through it. You got to either have these codes memorized for the produce, or you have to identify the various items. Usually that for both of those cases, the water and the produce, you got to go get somebody that's supposed to be monitoring the self checkouts, that is so busy with different ones. They have so many self checkouts in those stores that they it sometimes take a while for them to get to you. The Walmart I go to, I have seen after 10 o'clock, the store closes at 11. It used to be a 24-hour store prior to COVID. Anyway, 10 o'clock, they cease having cashiers. Everybody has to use self checkout, and that is a real pain when you got a really big order. And I know some people just flat out don't like self checkout. You got elderly people. That's very inconvenient for elderly people to be using self checkout. People with certain handicaps, physical handicaps. It's not convenient. Very inconvenient. So I think the self checkout should continue to be optional, and they should always have the option of a cashier if one is wanted or needed. But anyway, when I go to Walmart, if I'm going in there and I'm buying 2 items, I'll go to self checkout just to save time. I don't want to wait in a line behind somebody that's got a big load of stuff. But if I have a big load of stuff, especially like I said with produce, I don't want to be running that through self checkout. I'd rather have a cashier do it. And a lot of times, no, the cashier is having people that bag for them too, so that speeds up the process. I just think it's a better setup than somebody trying to run big loads of stuff through self checkout. Of course, some people probably prefer to do it that way anyway, which is fine. That's, like I said, it should be optional. Some customers don't like having other people bag their stuff. They don't feel that the cashiers bag it right. They want. Some people are particular about how their things are bagged. I'm not as particular. I prefer to have like frozen food put in one thing. I don't want a couple of frozen food items mixed in with a bag of hamburger buns. I don't want that. That's something, or you don't want to put bottle of laundry detergent and with a light bulb, light bulb's gonna get broken. Something things like that. You could, I mean, like you're bagging a light bulb. You could put a, you could, I guess you could put a bag of cotton balls in with a light bulb, 'cause it's not gonna hurt it. You're bagging eggs. You could put a I used to work in a grocery store, so I'd work the register sometimes. So yeah, if I would bag eggs, I'd put a loaf of bread on top of the eggs, and I never received any complaint about that. But you don't want to put something in a bag where it's gonna end up damaged, and the customer's got to come back to the store. That's not a good situation at all. So I can understand some people wanting to bag their own stuff, but like I said, for elderly people, it's really not a convenient thing for people to do, and I prefer not to be bagging a big load of stuff. So I mean, to sum it all up, I want a cashier when I'm buying a lot of stuff. When I'm buying a few things, I prefer to use self checkouts. I mean, like I said, I don't have a problem with self checkout, but I think that self checkout should be optional. Do I think this thing's true? No, I don't. I see a lot of nonsense on Facebook. I really get frustrated sometimes with some of the stuff they put on there, especially some nonsense about somebody dying, which didn't happen. I don't like seeing that on Facebook. There's other things that show up as well. That's one thing I wish Facebook would look to eliminate. Some of the content that gets on there. I've had friends that have ceased to have Facebook pages because they've gotten frustrated with Facebook. I get frustrated with it myself sometimes. I would like to close out the Facebook page and not have one, but I use it for I use it for various things. So I mean, having Facebook's works for me. It works with what I do. But anyway, that's my thought on this thing about them saying that Walmart's going to charge $5 to use a cashier, to have a cashier. Well, if it's that case, I'm doing one of two things. I'm either not going to Walmart again, or I'm just going to use their self checkout every time. One of two things. I do like the savings of Walmart. I really don't think Walmart would do something like that, because they're not known for losing money. They're known for making money. They've thrived. They've caused other retail chains to go out of business with the innovations, changes that they made, and other places not making those changes, and that's why they no longer exist. I did hear a few years ago also about a Kroger in, I think, Murfreesboro, Tennessee, maybe, that they were doing an experiment where they don't have any cashiers, and the whole thing's fed on self checkout. No, I don't like that. I went to another Walmart. There's a smaller one down the street from the Walmart that I normally go to. During the day, this is probably like 1 in the afternoon. They had absolutely no cashiers up front. They told me I had to feed my merchandise through self checkout, which I wasn't too happy about, because, like I said, I think that ought to be optional for the customer. Anyway, I'm through ranting on this subject about Walmart and the self checkouts. Anyway, show's mainly about preserving history. This time, this didn't happen to be about history. Once in a while, I will voice my opinion on something. Not often, but it does happen every now and then. But anyway, like, subscribe, share. As always, thanks for watching.